Today I'm going to give you 5 lessons on leadership based on some of the most successful leadership advice I've gleaned after studying thousands of successful people and reading hundreds of books. They just inevitably talk about leadership. I'm doing this video because a YouTube subscriber, I think he's a subscriber, but he left a comment by the name of Dwayne Strawchan, asked me to. He said, "Hey Will, can you please make a video on leadership because my teacher put me as class leader and I don't know how to make decisions and how to lead a class to success. So please, if you could make a video on leadership, that'd be great." Now, I actually modeled my advice here mostly off one of my favorite leadership books. It's by Lee Cockrell. No, he's not famous, but you don't need to be some famous billionaire to have great leadership advice. Now, Lee Cockrell is a man who actually ran tens of thousands of employees. He was the exec VP at Walt Disney World for 16 years. He worked at Marriott for 17 and Hilton at 8 years. And I also modeled my advice after probably, and this one is kind of famous, one of the most successful, famous brands of all time, Netflix, Reed Hastings. In fact, a lot of other leaders, even from the military, have called him one of the best leaders. So let's just get to it. Let's just get to the tips. The first one comes from Lee Cockrell, and it is to have very clear directions for what each of your team members needs to do and is responsible for. By having that clarity and being clear who's responsible for what, there's no confusion. There's no, oh, well, I'm not really clear what I'm supposed to do, so I didn't do it. No, it's clear as day, and that's how it is. The second one, a tip comes from Reed Hastings' book, No Rules, which is a very iconoclastic cultural book about how he built Netflix to a success, more so about Netflix's culture. And this one is about really having a culture of candor. And essentially, this is one where, you promote and explain and show people that it's okay to be honest and very candid with feedback and what was helpful, what was not, whether that's in front of others or private if you feel more comfortable with that. That constructive feedback is very helpful. And you don't have to, he also emphasized, you don't have to do it in some type of blunt, weird, offensive way. Draw a clear distinction between the person giving selfless advice and the brilliant jerk. The jerk will give feedback in a blunt, unconstructive, demotivating way. But if you do it properly, you can give feedback in a way that kind of propels the organization forward. And there's always a way to deliver your comments in a more constructive way. And so maybe that's not doing it in public. Maybe that's being less critical or criticizing. But you can be more candid, and you should encourage others to be more candid about feedback during meetings, during things like that. And it will very much help you learn from mistakes, help other teammates do that as well, and grow from that. And so that's something where he brought that to the culture. All right, jumping back to Lee Cockrell, the third tip is give people respect, appreciation, and value. Now, that's technically 3 tips in one, but they all have a similar theme of respect, appreciation. Everyone wants to be respected, loved, appreciated, and shown that they matter, and shown that, they're acknowledged. And just by having that basic human tendency, which may seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do it because they think they're better, because they're the boss or whatnot. And that's just not true. As a leader, your job is not to be someone who's better than them and give orders. It's to empower them, it's to help them, it's to clear roadblocks for them so that they can do their jobs better. And that distinction is what makes a good leader. You're a server. You serve others. You don't just say, ha ha ha, I'm better than you, I have a higher status. And you'll find that the best leaders have that mindset. Okay, number 4. Fourth one, we're jumping back to Reed Hastings. And he says, leaders should shout about their mistakes, not literally, but be very open and transparent about them. Why? It builds trust, it encourages courage, and it promotes others to be more vulnerable about their own mistakes. So, Netflix, for example, has seen a lot of success from having leaders share openly about what they did wrong, which causes others to share what they did wrong and admire and respect the leader. So simple enough, but very effective. Not a lot of companies do it. Why? Because it's scary. Your ego gets in the way. You're scared you get fired. Your reputation's in the way. He gives an example of Steve Ballmer of Microsoft, who is one of the richest people in the world, who really kind of inspired this culture because he was very honest about his mistakes. As a caveat, though, a leader should probably become respected and prove his skills and credibility first before constantly talking about his mistakes. Okay, so that was number 4, and then we'll move on to number 5. And this one is be prepared to take risks. Now, let me elaborate about this. Be prepared to take risks is about being open and being okay with doing new things. If you keep doing things the way they have been done, that might keep you at the status quo. But sometimes you might find something that, hey, maybe this is a better way of doing it. Or maybe this could lead to better things. And so you don't want to be the guy who's just paralyzed by fear or comfort and you never take any risks, because that is not what propels new ideas, new creativity, new strategies that could lead to greater success. Now, since you're in the classroom, you're not necessarily inventing new things. So I think it's not so much about taking big risks or trying to invent some new system for organizing your team members. I think it just comes down to being able to help empower your classmates and help them help you, and so that you can help them. And there's a goal. There's always an organizational mission, a team mission. Maybe you were chosen because someone has faith in you already. Maybe you have a little bit of a talent. So let's nurture that. Find out what that mission is. Maybe you're the class leader and the mission is to, come up with a school project or make sure all the other students behave. If that's the mission, you may have to take little risks on doing things differently if certain things in the system aren't working, like the existing system to keep people